Hi there, it's Melanie Folks Mays from Eden Mays HR Consulting to keep you out of trouble and delivering your passion. So we've been spending our time talking about how we build a sort of a great team atmosphere, how we build our relationship as leaders, as managers. So the last couple of days I've spoken about building rapport, and I've spoken about how you build trust. Today I want to talk about setting boundaries. So it's great to have a rapport. You need to have a rapport with your staff. They need to know you, you need to know them, you need to get along well. And obviously you need to build trust, because there is no relationship without trust. So you need to make sure that you're building trust with them, so that they'll come to you, they'll talk to you, so that you know what's happening, not just in the business but outside the business, and so that you are prepared. The next bit of it though is about setting boundaries. So it's great to have that wonderful relationship. I've worked in organisations where sometimes the issues that managers have is because they have become so friendly with staff that it's very difficult for them to then deal with them as a manager. So for example, one of the roles that I had a bunch of team leaders, and the team leaders had staff that had started at the organisation at the same point of them, and were just working as operatives. So it meant that the team leaders ended up managing their friends, so people that they went to the pub with on a Saturday night, that they were, got drunk with, that they had fun with, that they drove into work with. And so it made it really difficult when that person wasn't up to scratch or hitting their targets. It made it really difficult for them to follow the process. It also meant that when they hit sickness triggers, for example, as for the sickness policy, instead of them taking them through the triggers as they should, they weren't. And then should it escalate, should someone go from having a couple of days off sick to suddenly being off for a month and no process has started, it means starting everything from the back foot. And so I had to spend quite a lot of time with those managers explaining that it's great to be friends. There's nothing wrong with going out for a drink, going out for lunch, having fun, having children play together. That's absolutely fine. But the thing that needs to be remembered is that when you have that relationship outside of work, inside of work, it's a professional relationship, and you need to remember that you have to ensure that the right boundaries are set, so that, from my point of view, I would always say a good friend, if you're working with a good friend, they would never do anything that would jeopardise you, that would jeopardise them. So that's the thing that you need to remember. So if they're a good friend, they would work well and make you look good, and you would make them look good, and you would help them to progress within an organisation. And if rather than them taking advantage of the fact that you're a friend, not to be delivering the way that you ought to. So the thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that you set boundaries. So for example, one of the things that I've always done with my teams is I've set boundaries around, so they know around how I like to be communicated with. They know, for example, I'm great with emails and stuff, but if you really want to talk to me, come and talk to me. If my door's open, if I'm busy, send me and something's urgent, send me a text message, and I will call you back if I'm if I'm out and about, or once I'm out of my meeting, I will definitely do that. So I always make sure that they know how to contact me. I make sure they also understand that my calendar is open, so they can see my meetings, they can see what I'm doing. So they just need to, if they want to see me and spend time with me, they can always do that. I always set up a regular meeting, so they know they've got regular time with me once a week, once a fortnight, to have a chat, so that if there's any just normal ongoing stuff, we can discuss those things. They know that I have 2 small children, so while they may see emails from me at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, that doesn't mean I expect them to be checking their emails or responding to me at 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And likewise, if they send me an email after working hours, I might get to it, I might not. It all depends on what's happening at home. So I make sure that I set those boundaries, and make sure that they understand that I am their manager, and that is a relationship that we have. But they can always come to me with any problems. They can always come to me with any queries. And I like to have a good chat about, right now the World Cup's on, so I'm a big football fan. So I like to be able to have those discussions. But when it's time for work to be done, work needs to be done. When we're talking about targets and achieving, I'd always let them know, if you don't think you can hit the target, let me know. If you don't think that you can do this to a deadline, tell me. Okay, I won't be able to do it by tomorrow morning, but I'll be able to do it by tomorrow afternoon. Talk to me about your workload, so that if you need some help and assistance, I can help you. So those are the things that you need to do. You make sure that you set those boundaries so people have an understanding of, the way that you like to be communicated with, the way you like things done. you know, I'm also a person who's very solution focused, so I'm not particularly keen on people coming to me with a problem. Obviously, people do have problems and they need you to solve them, and you know, we're a HR consultancy, so that's what we do, we solve problems. However, what I prefer is someone to come to me with a problem and a suggested solution. So I like it when someone comes and says, this has happened, I think we should go this way, what do you think? Or this has happened, I've been thinking that I could do this, this and this and this, or this, this and this and this. What would you think? What would you do in my situation? That we can talk about it together. So I much prefer if someone comes to me in that manner rather than just comes to me and says, here's a problem, and just passes it over for me to solve. So that's what I mean. So you need to just make sure that you set good boundaries, you know, and also around even the basic things, so things around timekeeping. So depending on your business, it may not be, you know, someone turning up at 9 in the morning and working to 5 may not be an issue. If they want to work from, you know, 7 in the morning and 3, but also checking emails until 5 o'clock so clients don't get dropped, that's fine. But obviously if you've got a bricks and mortar organisation, then you need someone to be in, you need someone to be answering the phones, you need someone to be opening the doors, all of those good things. You need to be really clear around where there is flexibility, if there's flexibility to work from home, what your expectations are. So you just need to make sure that you set really clear boundaries so people understand where they stand, because I think a lot of the time when you end up in where there ends up being conflict is because things weren't set out from the beginning. It's because there was an assumption that someone understood something that wasn't ever explicitly said. So you need to make sure that those things are happening, that you're making sure that you're communicating well, that you're setting those boundaries and that people understand them. And once people understand them and they respect them, then if they overstep them, you know how to put it back. You know that you've got measurements and things in place that you can do to put those back. So I hope you found that useful, and I'll be speaking to you again real soon, sharing some more tips around how you can be a more effective manager. Have a great day now. Bye.